Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Om. This study of the sutras is often portrayed as something very difficult to do. In some ways, it is difficult because you are asked for a lot of disciplines. However, think of somebody who is addicted to alcohol. For them to go get alcohol may require effort. Go to the shop, pay for it, buy something, come home, drink. But the act of drinking itself doesn't require any effort. Or if it requires effort, it is only physical effort. Psychologically, there is no effort because the person is addicted to it. So I remember my teacher, Mr. Iyengar, used to say, get addicted to yoga, which is a very good way of looking at it. Okay? There is a physical struggle. There may even be some mental struggle, but there should not be psychological struggle. You love doing it, you look forward to it, you fall for it. Study of Yoga Sutra is also recommended to be done the same way. Intellectually studying, mechanically studying may have some relevance, may be useful to understand. But really, inwardly, it should not be a struggle like that. I want to live life as an honest person. I want to look at what is it that is drawing me away from that honesty. Don't make it right or wrong. Look at that. If for some reason I don't live honestly, I want to look at it without calling it bad or good. I want to look at it because somehow I'm addicted to it. Get addicted to good things. To get addicted to good things, it's amazing, but you have to understand your addiction to bad things. That shows you the nature of addiction. Then you can use that to get addicted to good things. And when you're addicted to a good thing, you see that in clinging to that good thing, there is no effort required. Which means, if you look at it a little differently, wherever there is an effort required, ask yourself why. To be good, why is there an effort required? Why is it not automatic? Now, here in this class, there is an effort required. I give it by way of homework. And I got 6 people who responded to that request, that you find some subject, your favorite subject, and write down your sutras with regard to that particular subject. I got 39, 40, now 41 people registered in the class. I got 6 responses. Those who did not respond, I would not call them wrong, but I would ask them, look at it, why would you not respond? Because you obviously do not have as much interest as you might think you have in the subject. And be honest with yourself. Say, I did not respond because I was doing something else that was important to me, which is fine. But the biggest reason why people don't respond is they don't have serious interest in it. Otherwise, you'll find the way to respond. Now, am I giving you guilt feeling? Don't feel guilty. Just say, this is how my mind is. The whole subject is about understanding what your mind does. So, in a sense, even a negative experience where I failed to do the homework in this instance, look at it and see, ask yourself why my mind is like that. You learn more about what your mind is, which is the purpose of the study. Okay? So without feeling bad or guilty, look at it. And if you did the homework, don't feel what? Pride. Okay? Of the 40 odd people, 6 people did it. I'm one of those 6. Thank God your mind is like that you did it. Yes, sir. Yeah, which in some sense would be a valid reason. I was so busy doing something else that was important to me, so I did not do the homework. This is not wrong or right. It's about understanding the nature of your mind. Whatever it is that was important to you is not wrong. In your mind, that's correct. But that's where you are at.
Ramanand?
Because as I said, the whole subject is about studying what the mind does. The camera likes me.
Ramanand?
I don't hear you.
Go ahead, Alex. There's a question.
Hello, Ramanand?
Yeah.
This is Alex.
Hi,
I'm
Alex.
not sure if you can hear me. Hi. I can only speak for myself. I don't know if I can speak for other people, but I did the homework, but I wasn't clear that I was supposed to send it to. I didn't see any request to send it to you. So that's my excuse, if you want to put it that way.
Alex, that is also fine. Then ask yourself, why would you not send it? Which
Perhaps I
means
didn't want to bother you.
you didn't want to bother me. If I wanted to be not bothered, I
To
would
send
not ask you to do
another
the
email
homework.
to you.
And it's not a botheration to me. See, I receive a homework. If in any way it bothers me, I don't even look at it. I say, okay, so-and-so sent it. That's the end of it.
What was the homework?
What?
What was the homework?
Homework was, we looked at what are the rules of writing sutra. On my website, I have given that. There are several rules of what a sutra is. And in light of that, I wanted you to do any subject and write a sutra on it. As an example, you remember Neil Stansky, right? He wrote sutra on chocolate. Yeah. He was making, in a sense, making fun of me because I talked of, I like chocolate and things. But he wrote nice sutras adopting the style of writing sutra. Important to understand how sutras are written. Okay. One of the things, for example, is said about sutra is that if out of an accepted sutra, you succeed in removing even one syllable, it is considered equivalent to having a child born in your family. It is that important. The implication is that they are so concise that you cannot modify them in any way. Okay? If you don't understand how they are concise, then you might think, yes, it's casual. Nothing in the sutra writing is casual. Nothing. Every word, every letter is important. Whether I understand the depth of it or not is the only question. The other thing that I pointed out last time was that, in a sense, the sutra appears like a story, but it is not. Because in a story, what happens is you develop a large plot. And slowly, as you come to the conclusion, the conclusion of the story comes at the end. Sutras are the opposite. Conclusion is given first. If you understand the conclusion, don't go to the next sutra. Like, what is the first sutra? It says, Atha Yoga Anusashanam. Simple translation is, now begins the story of yoga. If you know the story of yoga, close the book, you are done. Don't go to that. The reason you go to the next sutra, it explains why this story is so, in a sense, difficult. Why is it difficult to follow the steps? Then it is necessary. And Patanjali, in the first chapter, gives a lot of reasons why this is difficult, called kleshta. Kleshta means something that is obstructing. And we have different kind of obstructions. So he describes some of them. But they're given in very concise way. You need to study it properly so you understand what the kleshtas are. Not in general about what the kleshtas are to the society. What kleshtas I have. Because it's about study of my mind. I may be very good at something. By all means, feel happy about that. How do you feel happy about something like that? You're successful at doing, let's say you are a good yoga practitioner. Every morning you get up at 4 o'clock, practice from 4 to 6, and you never fail. Suppose. What is your feeling about that?
Structure in regards to learning about something. So there is something about, well, I feel like I'm on the right track because of this consistency that's leading me to somewhere.
You have discipline, yes? Are you happy about that discipline? Is that your primary emotion? What is your primary? Whenever you think of, yes, I'm able to do this every day, what is your first response to that ability? Huh? A blessing. It's a blessing. Anything you can do about which generally you can be proud, before being proud, thank God that you have the ability to do that. That ability you were born with. Any ability you acquire by practice, what is your response to that? That is also a blessing. Yes? If I am taking part in athletics and I can run, I practice every day running and slowly get better at it. My ability to do that itself is a blessing. My mind, which allows me to do that itself, is a blessing. It's not created by my ego. It is a God-given blessing. So, in the next chapter, Patanjali talks about, the very first verse of the chapter is, tapah svadhyaya Isvarapranidhanani kriyaygah. What is kriyaygah? He says, by tapas, to dedicate myself to the study, to dedicate myself to Isvara, to God. Okay? That lifestyle is kriya yoga, karma yoga. Now, The very first word, tapah. I've seen many translations of tapah. Okay. Let me read to you some of the translations of Guruji. Tapah, heat, burning, shining, ascetic devotion, a burning desire to reach perfection, that which burns all impurities, self-discipline. Very good translation. What is missing? See, I don't want to criticize the teacher, but I want to look at what is written critically so that I understand better. Not for sake of criticizing, but for sake of understanding more deeply what it is. What is missing in that? Something that Guruji himself taught, but he hasn't written down here. I already mentioned to you what it is. Addiction. If I'm addicted to something, the struggle is minimum. I get drawn to it. Why I'm not addicted to this study would be the question. Why would one not be addicted? Because the interest is not serious enough.
If someone has an addiction, I see that as like let's say, someone has ruminating thoughts. If you can't stop it, that's an addiction. Whereas I see yoga as a practice of an awareful choice.
So that's what Guruji meant by saying, you are easily addicted to negative things. All I'm asking you to do is get addicted to good things. So he's using the word addiction to imply the strength of that. You are right, technically addiction is considered negative only. But look at that and say, okay, I understand that addiction is negative. I want to use that, how it forces my mind to go towards the negative, to go towards the positive. It is the mind that is doing it. By understanding the negative, I can drive it towards the positive also. Or at least whenever I don't do it, I can consider like, why am I not addicted to this? Think of a sage who is devoted to regular prayer. Okay? I look at the man, I admire it. I admire means I see the value of it, but I won't do it. The reason I won't do it is because I'm not addicted to it, using this term, like the sage is.
Yeah, another reason I don't like the word addicted, yoga practice, have freedom, which is the opposite of addiction.
Okay, that brings up the subject of freedom, which is a huge subject by itself. We'll look at it briefly. Free from what?
Free from compulsive, you don't want to do.
Can you translate what she said? That is freedom to you?
No,
That is not freedom, okay. So what I'm asking you is, don't tell me what is not freedom. I'm asking you, what is freedom?
the awareness that we could result from being connected to one's true self.
Okay, I'll make it short just so we can proceed further. Freedom from something is never freedom.
No, I see what you're saying, but I mean freedom being one's true self.
What effort does that require? You are free.
A lot of people.
No, not Karen. Yes.
All self. I was conditioned by the external world in a kind of way where I did not feel ease until I started doing yoga.
Interesting. We can go on with it. In what you are stating, I'm not criticizing you, but I'm telling you, in what you just stated, what is the biggest impediment? What is it stopping her most? Biggest obstruction?
Past.
Yes, but past has created something. In what sentence you just used, I came how many times? That is the problem. Your notion of thinking who you are is incorrect. It is correct from certain reference, from certain perspective of this society, okay? This life on the planet. But really, if you understood what I really is, freedom is not required, it's there. So, who are you? Initially, somebody says to me, who are you? I say, I'm Ramanam. That label was given to me by my parents. As I grew older, I understood that label means this person. But even then, the conclusion was, I am this body, I am this mind. I did not understand what I really means. What does I mean? Say it even in English language. What do you mean by I? No, you are not human. That's a mistake. The I that you really are, a dog also is, a plant also is. What is that? Consciousness. I means this conscious being. Now, when I look at it that way, when my mind is able to look at what that consciousness is, where is the lack of freedom? See, if I confine consciousness to a plant, to a dog, to any other living thing, then there is a restriction. So that means I don't quite understand what consciousness is. And to explain that, we use the first time electricity. Electricity goes through a bulb, it gives off light. The bulb gives off light. If it goes to a fan, it makes the fan move around. It's not a very good example because in the process, the electricity itself is depleted. That's what I'm trying to explain. Just let me finish this. Now, suppose the electricity, that energy available, is infinite. You understand what infinite means? Infinite minus one or infinite plus one is infinite. Nothing happens to infinite. Yeah? if electricity available is infinite, or some people call it infinite, either way, yeah? If it is not in any way depleted, would you say electricity lights up the bulb? The bulb borrows electricity to give off light. The fan borrows electricity to turn around. In the process, nothing happens to electricity. Now come back to our real subject, consciousness. A flower expresses consciousness in one way. A dog expresses it another way. Human being expresses it yet another way. In the process, nothing happens to consciousness. It is infinite, it is gigantic. The earth rotates around consciousness. The galaxies move around consciousness. Anything that takes place that has energy is because of consciousness. Different things express consciousness in different ways. My yoga block, how does it express consciousness? My mat, my belt, how does it express? Okay. To us in human language, it's not a living thing. But that's our limitation of looking at it. There is nothing in this world that is devoid of consciousness. Everything has consciousness. It is created, a better word is manifested, because it has consciousness. So in a block, if I look at it correctly, if I have the ability to look at it, there are still molecules moving around, electrons buzzing around. Nothing is devoid of that. Nothing. See, strictly speaking, there is no creation. Because creation in our language means there is a creator that has created something. When a creator creates something, he requires material. Yes? Can you think of anything where the creation comes out of whoever is the creator? A spider weaves a web. All the material of the web comes from what? From the spider. So it is a manifestation, it's not a creation. Creation we are defining as there is a separate entity from the material. The entity uses the material to create something. The universe as we know it is a creation or a manifestation. It's a manifestation. Manifestation from an entity that we call God. If God required something else to create the universe, the question would be, what was that material and who created it? Understand this very clearly because it's very different to normal definition of God. If you understand, if your mind understands what I'm saying, then what is God? All that is here is God. Expressed by different things in different ways. Like I said, a block expresses God in different way. A dog will express in different way. A human being expresses it in different way. Clear? Shall I go further? Yes, but what I'm pointing out is freedom is not necessary. It already is there. Look, you are wearing a nice sweater. Okay? Suppose I like that sweater. And I say, wow, it would be nice to have that sweater. What is the effort required for you to possess this sweater? Not how you bought it, but now that you have it, what is the effort required? You said, there is no effort, I have it. What you have doesn't require an effort.
Why is most of the world violent, starting to
Because the world does not understand Patanjali Yoga Sutra. No, it doesn't require it. The world generally, if you call the world of people, people don't know who they are. Are you a woman or a man? Most people in America, or really anywhere in the world, think of themselves as woman or man first and then being a human being. It's the opposite. You're a human being first, then a man or a woman. But everywhere, because of the nature of struggle that exists between women and men in every society, the conclusion drawn in that struggle is, I'm a woman, therefore I'm being treated this way or that way, which is correct. It's not wrong. But that puts you in an envelope where you are a woman first and a human being afterwards. Now I am saying, you are not even a human being, you are consciousness. If you are consciousness, as a man or a woman, there is a struggle. As a human being also, there is a struggle. As an Indian or American or African, there is a different kind of struggle. As consciousness, what is your struggle? Nothing. That is total freedom. And with that definition, someone like Krishnamurti says, freedom from something is not freedom. It's a lack of understanding what freedom is. Doesn't make freedom from something unimportant. Freedom from being in a jail, freedom from being hungry. This is real. It's not wrong. But it is not ultimate freedom. Ultimate freedom that we talk of, that consciousness has, by its very nature, doesn't require anything. It is there. You can recognize this quality and say, my God, as consciousness, there is complete freedom. Because as consciousness, there is no death also. There is no birth. There is no death. When this body dies, nothing happens to consciousness. The body stops expressing consciousness in a particular way. That is not lack of freedom. That is complete freedom. So if you want complete freedom, don't die on me. Just recognize the fact that I am consciousness. The mistake made is by the mind because of certain conditions. That mind has the ability to discuss this, to slowly understand it. And when you fully understand it, when the mind fully understands it, you are free. But as much as mind helps you to do that, mind creates other problem also. It creates a sense of limitation. When you have to struggle against that limitation, let's say that struggle is a spiritual struggle, It is called tapah. The translation that tapah is like a burning desire is not incorrect, but it's not completely correct. Tapah really if I have a lifestyle that is a religious discipline, you understand? If it's a religious discipline, where is the struggle required? There is no struggle. Careful, don't translate religion as Hinduism or Islam or Muslim or Christianity or that. Okay, that's not religion. Religion means intense desire to understand who I am. In that intensity, there may be effort required physically, mentally, but there is no psychological effort. From the moment I wake up, I'm engulfed by it. I'm drowning in it. Every available moment I have living on this planet is in that. Drowning is a good word. Yeah, I'm drowning in that, which is what I meant by addicted to it.
So, Ramanan, you prefer the word religion to philosophy.
Religion is very different than philosophy. Philosophy is some discipline created by particular culture. That's why there is, although there are many similarities between Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, these are three major religions. Okay? There are difficulties between them also. If all three of them understood what religion really means, like the way I'm describing, why is there a fight between them? None. Any effort between them would be to struggle, support each other. If I'm a good Hindu and you are a good Jew, okay, I would do everything to make you a better Jew. And you would do everything to make me a better Hindu. Instead of fighting with each other. Fight in the name of God is the most stupid thing that humanity has ever done. And yet, look at the conflicts. Look at the world's history.
Isn't it? If I say, well, I believe God, and your God is not real.
Yeah.
That's problematic. But there's a hierarchy.
Eh.
I'm with God, so I'm higher up than you are, which also creates conflict.
Correct. Yeah. So you are using the word philosophy as what?
Love of life, love of truth.
I would say philosophy is an effort to understand who I am.
Weber, the German philosopher, who emphasized, one's work location comes from the Latin root vocatio, which means a calling, which is, I thought of it as describing this kind of devotion.
Calling for truth. Yes, that's philosophy. Literally, that is what it means. Love for truth. Okay? Means love to understand who I am. Okay? different words, the same attitude. And if I go back to religion, all religions claim to teach this, but they don't. They deviate from it. They create a boundary around themselves. Important concept. Boundary means what? Boundary means lack of freedom.
I think it's relative. You know, like on a human level, like not having boundaries can mean you get walked all over. And like, boundary, like, apology is being able to say no.
No, I'm talking of boundary with relation to consciousness. You're bringing it down to human interactions. You're not wrong, but we are talking of different subjects. When we talk of consciousness and that kind of freedom, there is no boundary. It's infinite in nature. You are right. As a human being living on this planet in America, I have a boundary as a human being. Okay? I go home, that's my boundary. Other people are not allowed to enter in it without my permission. There is a boundary. It's not wrong. But relative boundary. From the perspective of consciousness, there is no boundary. If you think there is, for me, suppose you think so, go ahead and enter my consciousness. You can't. You are consciousness, I am consciousness. There is no, within consciousness, there is no space. For me to be separate from you, space is required. But if you are consciousness and I'm consciousness, where is this? There is no space in between. What else is not there? That is always there in human interactions. Time. There is no time, there is no space. I, as a human being, have a relationship with you where there is time and space. If I understand what I really is, there is no space and there is no time. Does my mind have clear understanding of what that I is? That's the whole purpose of this book. Yes.
I mean, I think it's going to talk about the deep sleep relationship with
Relationship with consciousness and time.
What is deep sleep?
sensitive perception, active mind.
It's little more than that. Deep sleep is absence of struggle. When I'm not in deep sleep, why am I struggling so much? Physically, this body needs to survive. For that, there is a struggle required. I'm translating that struggle into struggle for I, which it is not. So my lack of understanding of who I am causes problem. Or worse still, I not only don't understand who I am, but I give it a different definition. I means this person, Ramanand, and it's not. I give it a wrong definition and then say there is struggle. Yes, there is struggle for that wrong person. In deep sleep, that sense of separateness goes away. There is no struggle. No matter what your struggle is psychologically, if you fall into deep sleep, it is not there. And the funny thing is, everybody in this room knows that fact. So can you have that understanding of who I am when I'm not sleeping? Upon not sleep, upon waking up, where does that struggle come? I wake up, the struggle begins with what is the first thought? I. I meaning Ramanand, not you. Okay? That separation begins the struggle. If I see what I call myself, if I see myself in you, that's a beginning of losing that ignorance. So a very good meditation I would advise you to try is think of somebody you intensely dislike. And think of somebody, first think of intensely somebody you dislike. See that person as separate from you. Then see what is similar between the two of you. You understand? That's one part of the meditation. Second part of the meditation, find somebody that you intensely like, love. See the similarity between the two of you. And then compare the person that you dislike and the person that you like and see the similarity there. Okay? That will begin to erase from your mind at least the wrong understanding of who I am. When, as an Indian, as an example, as an Indian, I see a Pakistani, why automatically something goes wrong in my belly? When I don't even know the guy, all I know is he's a Pakistani. Or I'm a Hindu and he's a Muslim. Why? Because I've been indoctrinated wrongly and I have bought it. To talk of my own story, the best friends I had in my university were all Pakistanis. And in spite of that, it took some real looking at myself and my mind to drop my prejudice against Pakistanis. But even now, when I can technically claim that I have dropped that struggle, if a Pakistani team is playing an Indian team, cricket, suddenly there is the same struggle. And I laugh at myself and say, what kind of idiot am I? It's a game, there two teams are playing, one will win, one will lose. Very rarely in cricket there is a draw, very rare. But why am I emotionally so attached to this? Because I don't understand who I am. That kind of examination slowly makes it clear. Last time we were talking of love. That's how we finished. Yeah? And let's quickly revise that. When I love Andrea, what has it got to do with Andrea? Almost nothing. What does it mean I love a person, a thing, an event? When I love something, what's really going on? Huh? You're accepting yourself. What kind of self? When I love somebody, my ability to accept myself is so much better. There's no struggle. I accept who I am. If I look at somebody who I don't like, that not liking creates something in me. My mind is not able to accept who I am. not like that. I don't like myself like that. That inability to accept myself as I am, self-acceptance that is lacking, is the problem. Then there is no love. So whenever I love somebody or something or some event, it creates a sensation in me where I have no struggle accepting myself as I am. Even with somebody you like a child, it's your child, you like the child does something naughty. You don't like that. You still like the child, you love the child, okay? But there is some negativity in it. I don't like my child as the child is. I have a son. When he was about 7, 8 years old, he was climbing trees that kind of bothered me, that he would fall. But whenever I'm not present, he would do this. We had a tree in the backyard, he would climb up. So I had a correspondence with my father that Viren is a bit of a handful, okay? And I'm struggling to keep him off the trees. My father in India tells my grandfather that this is a letter from Ramanan. My grandfather said, write to Ramanan, if Viren doesn't climb up, you think your grandfather will climb up the tree? Children do this. Teach them to climb safely. And how far do I have to go to say, if I'm told I love something and I'm told, no, you can't do it, what does it take me to not to do it? I'm drawn to it. Are you drawn to yoga practice like that? Yes, there are things that are pressing. You need to do other things. But whenever there is time available and it is a proper time, are you drawn to yoga? Or you say, oh no, it's morning now, I have to do more yoga. Never practice like that, really. Never ever practice. The day I feel that way, I say, okay, today I'm not going to do it. It's a wrong kind of discipline, but it teaches me to practice correctly. There's a struggle involved in the posture. I like the struggle. If I like climbing up a mountain, it's not easy. It's a struggle. But I was so addicted to it in my college days. Every time there was opportunity available, I would find somebody and say, come on, let's go up the mountain. Because it created that same feeling of love that I was talking about. Tapah, that is mentioned, the very first word of the second chapter, is like that. Yes, there is a struggle involved, there is a discipline involved, but I love that discipline. It does not have psychological struggle. The next word is svadhyaya. Svadhyaya means self-study. With that kind of love of discipline, of tapa, I make a self-study such that Isvarapranidhanani, I understand what God is. Kriyaygah, that is Kriya Yoga. Karma Yoga or Kriya Yoga. Okay? The very first sentence will take us lifetime to deeply understand. There is no need to go to the second sutra. When I go to the second sutra, all it explains is, why is it so difficult? What makes it so difficult? And what primarily makes it difficult is my erroneous understanding of who I am. Okay? If you look at all the sutras in this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, every sutra, directly or indirectly, indicates simply that. Who am I? So I already told you what the exercise is for the next, before we meet next time. Please do it, but enjoy doing it. If there's a struggle in doing it, don't bother. It won't work. But reserve a time every day when you can spend at least 5 minutes thinking of somebody that you really dislike. And if you don't know anybody like that, Donald Trump. Okay? Because you're not going to hurt him. He doesn't even know you're doing it. So it's quite safe to do. It's not a bad practice. You don't like something he's doing. So you can say, okay, I don't like this person intensely. Okay? What is similar between me and him? Is there anything similar between you and Donald Trump? You know what is surprising? There is far more similar than dissimilar. Then find somebody that you intensely love and see what is really similar between the two of you. And let your mind understand there is no difference between the two. None. Zero. Except outwardly. And not only there's no difference between those two, there's no difference between you and them. A better exercise you can do later is walk down the street. Not with somebody or not having a conversation, just by yourself. Walk down the street on a busy road. Look at every person and say, me, 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 me. Stop seeing differences. Doesn't mean go and sort of crash into it. Okay? That's an outward difference. Literally, there is no difference between you and him. Then, if you are successful at doing that, do it with animals. Don't go let your body be bitten by mosquitoes. That is not the idea. And then do it with plants. Plant flowers, trees. Anything that expresses consciousness, do it with that. What will you do after that? You're done with people, you're done with animals, you're done with plants. What will you do it with? Your yoga mat and yoga block. Okay? Don't throw these things around like it is some ridiculous thing. It's a consciousness expressed in a very different way. Treat it with discipline. Okay? We have got 3 more classes left. Trust me, it's going to get substantially deeper. But if you don't like doing it, please don't come. If any questions come up, by all means, you can write to me. Okay? Don't make a very long essay of it, brief questions. But you have to have tremendous intensity. Otherwise, the subject is such that it will give you a lot of negative feelings. A lot of things here are such, they require discipline. Okay? If you can't practice it, you will simply feel like, I'm not good enough. Okay? Don't do that. Love it and do it in such a way. There is no question of I'm not good or not, or I'm good or not good. I'm a struggling human being trying to understand something that is very deep. There is no subject in our human understanding that is more difficult than this subject. Nothing. To understand I is the most difficult thing your mind will do. People who are complicated will find it even more difficult. Simple people will find it relatively easy, but not very easy. Become simple, but intelligently simple, not in a stupid way. Okay? Thank you. Namaste.